Okay, we're back, and we're going to be talking to you about your self-introduction speeches. A couple of comments. If you've already gone through now and listened to the practice video critiques, now we start to get serious. Practice video was just that, and hopefully you see some of the stuff I talked about. You've got to review your video after you make it so that you can hear things like the ventilation noise is so loud that it's hard to hear you, or those kinds of things, or kids in the background, or televisions in the other room, or whatever. All right, first we're going to do Alban. Alban, good story. Be a little bit more conversational. Don't just stand there and recite what you're going to say to us. Talk to us. Be my friend, Mr. Rogers. Won't you be mine? Won't you? And all of that stuff. But 13 seconds elapsed in your intro, the whatever you did about showing people. That's deducted from the length of your speech, so you want to be careful about that. Baby noise was apparent. I only counted 5 in the audience, but because of the swish pan, it was too fast to tell. But also, presumably, your camera person is an audience member, but I've got to see the camera person too, so that I know that. You could have somebody running the camera who is 12 years old, and I will not assume that that camera operator is old enough to be in the audience, so make sure that you do that. Slow down. Don't go so fast. Now, I will tell you, when you practice your videos, you will either speed up or slow down a little bit when you actually do it. Don't worry about that. That's why I have slop time on either side. So if it says 3 minutes, anywhere from 2:45 to 3:15, and again, I'm going to say this, I don't go nuts about, oh, you went 3 minutes and 25 seconds, or, oh, you only went 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm not going to worry too much about it. What the time is in there for is because some people in a 3-minute video go 7 minutes. You couldn't have practiced that. All right. I'm assuming everybody in the class is watching this, so I'm going to make another announcement. I'm going to be posting some revised times for the speeches. I do not like the length of 7 to 10 minutes and all that. I'm going to give you a specific time. Number 1, it will be a specific time. It's not going to be a range. It's not going to be 3 to 5. It's going to be a specific time. You still can slop over a little bit. The shorter speeches make you make more choices, because when you're doing a shorter speech, those choices are things that you have to do in order to get the speech from this point to this point in a coherent way. All right. What else? Slow down, talk to me, not at me. Watch a rhythm. You get kind of a rhythm going. Ta-da, 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 ta-da. Ta-da, 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 ta-da. Ta-da, 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 ta-da. So you want to vary the length of your sentences. Also, speakers use techniques. Martin Luther King, for instance, when he talked about I Have a Dream speech, he did things like, I had a dream. He elongated words. You can do that. You don't have to always, let me do this. I do this in my face-to-face class. There are 5 things you can control when you're speaking: pitch, pace, tone, volume, and silence. Use all of that, just like with the musical instrument. Pitch, pace, tone, volume, and silence. You're giving a speech, and you get to a point where you really want people to pay attention. See that silence I put in there? When you're speaking and you pause for a second, it demands attention, because we're so used to the TV being on that as soon as it gets quiet, oh, what happened to the TV? Okay, same thing in speaking. Watch the rhythms. Use a podium. Use notes and use a podium. I didn't see any sign that you had any kind of a script there. I have outlines from you. And by the way, follow the style in the outlines that are mentioned in the textbook, or actually in Blackboard, you get some sample outlines in there. Label your outlines. I need to know what you intend to be the speaking outline. I need to know what you intend to be the preparation outline. All right, what else? Wrong composition. This shot, the only shot I ever want to see, Do not move it. Do not change it. Do not get bigger than this or smaller than this. Some of you were way back there, and some of you had a shot from here up. No, this shot right here. Bust line to the top of your head. All right. Label your outlines. I already said that. Next up is shadow. Shadow. Good appearance. Thank you for that. Stand still. You're moving a little bit when you're speaking, and you want to kind of, and that's a nervous thing. Don't get too concerned about it. Just kind of capture it and make it yours so you're not doing it. Camera person was not seen. I only saw 5 people in the audience. Camera is too far away, made it hard to hear you. You're standing in front of a distracting background. Watch the tisk. Remember we talked about people who make that sound when they talk? All right, so be careful of that. Watch the size. And then I went out to, those kind of, I exaggerate when I critique these things, so don't literally look for something where you went, it's not that. Just listen to what you did and how you did it. I couldn't understand your final quote. I try to do this just the way a class will do it, like an audience will do it, one time. I don't go back and review it. I don't go back and listen to it a second or third time. So it's got to be really, really clear, and you got to make sure that I understand it the first time through. Label your outlines and put your name on each outline. All right, next up is, guess what? I have no fantasy name. So let me tell you, no fantasy name. You need to use a podium for your notes. Your notes are waving around a lot, so that's why you need to do them on a podium, and it's distracting. You only have 4 people in your audience. The audience must take the whole process seriously. If you get an audience that clowns around, messes around on the introduction, all those kinds of things, if they're not serious, then I'm not going to take it seriously either. Tell your audience you're working on a grade in this class, and they're not helping you. All right, stand still. Remember we talked about this. Don't be moving all around. You have the wrong composition. Here we go again. This shot. Bust line to an inch or 2 above the head, the only shot I ever want to see. Flow. Flow is how you go from one point to another. Your flow. And then I said, then he did this. And if you see how that goes, it's just like it's disjointed. Your flow has to move from one thought to another. You were short on the length. Now, I'm going to show you this, so let's see if you really understand what I'm talking about. This could be your cell phone. Never but never use this as a camera. But whatever camera you do use, I want the shot horizontal. I do not want a vertical shot. Horizontal, not vertical. Never but never use a cell phone. What else? I have no outlines at all from you, no fantasy name. All right. Next up is cricket. Cricket, great appearance, good metaphors. I like metaphors and, things that kind of explain something in a way that I can even figure out. Your picture was soft focus. Make sure you're sharp focus. You have the wrong audience introduction. We've already talked about that. You have the wrong composition. Bust line to an inch or 2 above your head. Don't thank the audience. We talked about that in the other critique. And do not post your outlines in Connect. Send them to me in an email message. Crucial. All right. Again, next person is Dutch. Dutch. Good picture. The camera is not level. If you look at the table you're standing in front of, it's going downhill. Make sure you have your camera level. And using the table as a podium was a good idea. That works well. Do not post your outline with the speech in Connect. Label your outlines. There was a fair amount of ambient noise when you do your speech. Make sure that you kind of control the noise. You can't do much if you're inside a house and the sirens in the street and stuff like that. But I have had students that had police monitors in the house, and they're speaking, and all of a sudden I hear, car 36, go to 14th and Main. We have a domestic. They're used to it. It's not something you want to have go off in a speech. Another one is, had a class one time where a student had tropical fish, And I exaggerate, as you know, and so they were standing next to a 1,000,000-gallon fish tank that had bubblers all over. So all the time they're speaking, I'm hearing this bubbler thing, and all I could think about was, I got to go to the bathroom, I got to go to the bathroom, I got to go to the bathroom because of the bubbling. No, control the place. Make sure you control the distracting TV in the other room, kids crying, dogs barking, all of that stuff. All right, watch watch the tisk. You have a light tisk. Remember when you talk? Now, you guys don't do it that often, but when it's there, and it gets very distracting. And now that I've told you about it, it's something that I hope you start to notice, and it's going to drive you nuts about how do you stop doing that. Well, one thing is make sure your mouth is moist. Don't go in with a dry mouth because that's part of the reason your tongue is sticking to the back of your teeth. All right. Camera person, heard them laughing. No, that's where the microphone is. They need to be totally silent. Don't do any audience participation. Vocalize pauses, and and you're because you're outside, you're squinting your eyes a little bit. Sun is going to make it even worse. It's something you want to be really careful of when you decide to go outside. Never in a speech have audience participation. It's not a news conference. They don't need to be asking you questions. You give the speech and let them ask you questions after you turn off the camera. All right, let's talk in general about the speeches. Not bad for a first time. We get one of those things where nobody starts off, at the top of the thing. And don't worry about grades at this point because as the grades go at the end of the class, I'm looking for improvement. How are you doing? Were you going up or down? That kind of stuff. And I will bump you up. Ivy Tech doesn't give pluses or minuses. So when push comes to shove, if you've done a really good job in this class and you've gotten better, a little bit better each time, you fulfilled all of the things, you follow the directions, this shot only, all right, those are things that make a huge difference. Watch for the time for the next speech. It's posted. I'm going to correct. I'm not going to go in and correct it. I am telling you, this is the length for the speech. Everything else will be the same, but the length will be shorter for the most part in all of your speeches. I don't want a 10-minute speech from any of you. It's way too long. You're going to ramble. You're going to talk about stuff that is not interesting. A short speech makes you make choices about what you include. Now, one other thing I want to say to you. My goal in this class is not to turn any of you into a keynote speaker at some big national meeting. My goal in this class is all of us. I won't say us because I'm kind of a ham and I got a big ego. Most people get in a speech class and they're terrified. They put it off to the last class they take in college and all those other things. I don't want you terrified. I don't want you to try to be perfect. I don't want you to try to be the best speaker in the entire world. I want you to tell me a story. I want you to talk to me, not at me. And I want you to enjoy this class. Just do the work, follow the directions, turn in the work, have fun. I know you're going to be scared, but remember this. Everybody else in this class is pretty much in the same boat as you are. There's some people like me that got a big ego, and I enjoy being on, and I enjoy talking to a camera. I've been in television most of my life, so it's something I'm comfortable with. You will kind of get comfortable with it. My goal is not to turn you into a major speaker, but if you have to go to a school board meeting on behalf of your child, or you have to go to a city or a county council meeting on behalf of yourself, I don't want you so terrified of having to speak in public that you won't do that. All right? We're in this together. I want you to succeed. I will do all in my power to help you succeed. If you have any questions at all, call me in my office. Don't write me long notes. I don't like responding to email messages because it takes me too much time. If you're talking to me, I can be sure that I understand what you're talking about. If we have a problem with anything, and you're in front of your computer and I'm in front of mine, we can walk through the whole process, get everything fixed. So call me in the office. Don't write me email messages. I'm still having some problems with some things in Blackboard. It put a thing up there already for the special occasion speech. We haven't even gotten there yet, but it had points there. We're working on that. And I will make sure and I will send out an Excel spreadsheet listed by your fantasy name showing you what the grades are that you've earned. Now, remember, you have to send me an email message telling me you watched this video, and make sure you tell me you watched the video about the practice speeches too. All right? We'll see you next time. Call me. Don't write me. Call me. Talk to me in the office, and have fun. This is not the worst thing that's ever going to happen to you, and I'll help make sure that it's not. All right, we'll see you next time.